For most Buddhists, it includes some sort of daily sitting meditation. And the purpose of sitting meditation is to prepare us for the rest of the day so that we can carry our meditation into the day. You're present during sitting meditation, and as the practice of Buddhism, you attempt to be present throughout the day. We say find a comfortable posture so that you can have stability. So the purpose of the lotus position as well as this position is you have sort of a tripod with your knees or legs and then your seat. And you're much more stable if you're in a tripod. You can't be tipped over. You create a base that's stable. And that may be in a chair for some people. I sit like this when I'm meditating. It's a stable way to hold your hands. Some people prefer to have their hands on their legs in one position or another. You may like to touch one finger or another to increase your attention. And then with the stable position and your spine erect but not tense, chin a little tucked. And most people who practice for a while meditate with their eyes open but gaze lowered and unfocused. But it's possible to close your eyes too if you prefer. Mindfulness meditation, you begin with a focus on your breathing. Awareness of breathing. Breathing in and breathing out is the first practice taught. Meditation has two parts. One is stopping and calming, which is samatha, and the other is looking deeply, which is vipassana. And you can't look deeply until you've stopped. So sitting meditation allows us to begin to be still so that we can be truly present and look deeply at what's here. It's also sometimes described as the runway for life, so that we sit in meditation and practice just sitting so that when we do other things in life, we can be fully present to what we're doing in that moment. Buddha was asked about there was a man looking for a spiritual community who came to the Buddha and said, can you tell me why I should join your group instead of the fellows up the road? And he said, what's the difference? But what do you do that's different? And the Buddha said, we sit, we lie down, we stand, and we walk. And the fellow said, I think they do that up the road. And the Buddha said, but when we sit, we know we are sitting, and so forth. How has Buddhism adapted to American culture? It's a little difficult to answer since I have encountered Buddhism in Vietnam, but I didn't practice Buddhism in another culture and then come here and see what was different. So I see Buddhism through the eyes of an American. Some of the critics of the Buddhist or the American adaptation of Buddhism, some of the critics say that it's become cafeteria-style practice, so that Americans take what they want and put down other things, and some of the essential teachings are ignored. I think one of the things that I see in American practice is that some people will come in a room and sit down for 20 minutes and leave and not make it part of their daily practice and think that by sitting on a cushion you're practicing Buddhism, and you're not. You're preparing to practice Buddhism because Buddhism is a way of being in the world. It's not a particular ritual. It's not a particular chant. It's not having the right number of bells in the right order. It's a way of being in the world. I do feel free to practice Buddhism in America, in the American South, no less. And I think it's because of Buddhism as much as it is the Americans that I'm around. Because Buddhism clearly allows for different spiritual practices, and I don't have to be right in a way that means you're wrong if you practice differently. And so, because my spiritual practice doesn't reject others, then it's somehow makes it easier for the other spiritual practices to be more accepting of mine. I also think it makes a huge difference that Buddhism is non-theistic, so that I'm not bowing down to a Buddha as God, or displacing any other God by Buddhist practice. My personal belief on reincarnation is it doesn't matter what happens after I die. It doesn't matter what I believe about what happens after I die, because I won't ever know until after death. So I can come up with all kinds of wonderful things or horrible things or tepid things that are going to happen to me after death, but I really won't know. All I can do is use them as tools to argue with another person that I'm right and they're wrong, which is not a useful approach. The more important question to me is, how am I living my life now? Because whatever happens after I die, the direction my life is going now, the direction I choose, is the direction I will continue to grow. You can't bend a tree over and expect it to grow straight upright. So if my tree is bending, the tree of my life is bending this way, then this is the way I'll be going.